Okay, so first of all, we're going to talk about, I'm going to introduce you and say, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. This is a huge honor. I mean, everybody who's into metal from the 80s on, if you don't know who Doro is, you've been living in a rock.
Oh, thank you so much for these kind words. Great to be on your show. Thank you for having me. And and I see you're having the T-shirt on. Burning Witch.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. We just played together actually a couple of, maybe 2 months ago. That was fun. And we played together on the Monsters of Rock cruise as well. So, yeah. Excellent.
Speaking of music, you just came out with a new album, Conquerors. How's been the reception for this album so far?
Oh, man, really, really good. Like, in Germany, it hit the regular charts number 5. First was Taylor Swift, and then the Rolling Stones, and then the and then number 5 was The Conquerors Forever Strong and Proud album. So that was really great. And in America, it was 2 times number 1 in the America radio charts.
Nice.
So that was great, and I got some great feedback of the fans, which that's to me, most important thing. The charts, that's all nice and dandy, but when the fans love it, then I'm happy. And I think in Europe, there's a different edition out. Like this one, it has 20 songs. That's the Digipack, and it has 20, I think, killer songs. I love them all. And in America, there's just 15 songs on the normal CD. But and there's a nice vinyl edition out, like splattered vinyl, colored vinyl, and the picture disc. So for all the record collectors, it looks really nice. And
I really love the Children of the Dark song. Plus, that video is crazy insane. It reminds me of like Mad Max, kind of apocalyptic kind of feel to it.
Yes, actually, I call these guys, they call Wasteland Warriors, and I always want to do a video with the guys and girls, and they build their own motorcycles and their own cars and then we picked the first winner was Time for Justice, and I thought, oh, this is perfect. And I called him and I said, you guys want to do the video with us? And I said, absolutely. So we did the first video together, and then we did a couple of other videos, and single number 4 was Children of the Dawn, and I called them again and said, hey, shall we do it again? And if the listeners didn't see the videos, it's all for free. You can watch it. There are 5 videos out. And the last one was actually with Rob Halford, the duet.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it too. And it was for me absolutely the icing on the cake that I could do something with Rob Halford. And actually that he did 2 duets with me on my new album. Oh, it's like we were friends for a long time. And it was my first big tour in 1986 with Judas Priest. And this friendship was always going on. And we met last year in France at Hellfest. It's a great festival, big. And we were talking and hanging out backstage. And then I told Rob that I'm just finishing a new album. And he said, oh, and then we both smiled at each other. I said, Rob, shall we do something together? He said, absolutely. We are friends for such a long time. It's about time. And then he said, what do you want to do? Do you have an idea? And I said, I was born and raised with the Judas Priest album British Steel, and I would love to do Living Under Midnight. Mm-hmm. And he said, let's do it. And he said, and I have a song I always want to do with you, Total Eclipse of the Heart. And I thought, ooh, doing a nice metal version and a duet. And then this was actually the last song we recorded for this album. And I think it came out so good.
And, yeah. I love it. I think it's going to be up there with like the best like metal, male and female singer, kind of like the Ozzy and Lita. I think it's going to be up there with that.
I think so too. It always gives me chills, and it was definitely a group effort. We all put our 2 senses in it, and Andy Sneap, the guitar player and producer of Priest, he recorded Rob, and he had some ideas for the mixes, and Rob had ideas, and I had ideas, and then the guy I'm always working with, his name is Andreas Brun. He's the ex-guitar player of Sisters of Mercy, and I worked with him since 1996, and he put it then all together. And and I was so happy. And then Rob said, let's do a video. That was like, that was so good. So,
Yeah, it's kind of.
So we had
Yeah, it definitely is kind of surprising because you mentioned it that, you've known Rob for so long and it's taken this long to finally do something together, which is mind blowing because you figured you would have done something before that.
Right, yes. Yeah, you're right. But sometimes, sometimes you need, you always need to have an idea or maybe, doing something good together. And in 1986, when we were on tour, it wasn't possible because in the 80s, the headliner was the headliner. When you would be hard band, that would have been impossible. So, but now since we know each other for such a long time, Rob Halford is one of the sweetest and nicest people in the music business, and super gentle, sensitive, intelligent, outer gentleman. And and I guess it was like great timing, and and I'm so grateful and happy. And even 2 songs, man.
Yeah.
1 song isn't enough for me to be totally happy, eternally happy, and then 2 songs. So that was good. But to be honest, it doesn't feel to me like it's such a long time ago. Like when I tell you the story, we were on tour in '86 with Priest. Hey, that seems to me like maybe 6-7 years ago. And it's a long time ago. So, but when you're always on tour or in the studio, then time flies. And and I still remember when I started out. We were actually called the kindergarten band because we were so young. And my drummer, he was like 14 or 15 years old, and everybody thought the kindergarten band. And, and I still sometimes feel like that, even though I'm doing it for such a long time. But time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah. And then I read that your birthday is on June 3rd, right? I'm June 4th. Mine's the 4th.
Oh, cool. That's good. Oh man, we have to celebrate into each other's birthdays and stuff. Yeah, that's cool. So you're a Gemini as well. Yep. They're creative, they say.
Yeah. So speaking of that, being German and doing predominantly English music, when you write, do you write kind of in German and then translate it into English, or do you just straight up write lyrics in English?
Yeah, right away in English. That totally changed. In the 80s, we tried to write lyrics, but it was usually, with the help of the dictionary and stuff. But then I had the chance to go to New York for a little promotion tour. It was big, and I just had 3 days, to promote the True Steel album. That was our 3rd album. And after 2 days, I thought, I want to stay. Then I stayed in New York, and then everything fell into place, and I got hooked up with great people, great musicians, great producers. We went into the Power Station studio, which that was the best studio in America back then. And we worked on the Triumph and Agony album, actually doing the demos in that studio. And then I had a manager. Actually, at first he was the advisor, but he became the manager then after 1 year. Because he wanted to check us out, he said, hey, I want to see if you guys are worth it to spend all my time and energy with you guys. And so we had to really prove that we would be worth it. And then, we did some demos in the Power Station studio in New York. And then the manager, his name was Alex Grobe. He said, hey, it's fantastic. He said, Doro, you know what? You stay. And that guy's the producer. And he was a guitar player. Young guitar player, his name was Joey Valen, and then we could do the Triumph and Agony album. And I always wanted to go to America, always wanted to go, and that was my chance. And I'm still a proud green card holder. And and then it started maybe 1 year or 1 year later. the first time that I could really feel English, write in English, dream in English, talk a little bit, in English, even though I still have an accent, but I can totally feel it, understand it, and so now all these songs, they are right away in English, and maybe some special songs, they are different languages. I love to sing sometimes, one little song. I did a song in Spanish, in Portuguese, in French, and on this album there's a song that it has a German chorus and English verses. That means You're My Rock, and it's called Fels in der Brandung. And so sometimes some special things,
Yeah.
But usually it's English, like 99% is English, and yeah, that's...
Speaking of coming to America, how was it like, when you started doing your solo stuff? You got to work with Gene Simmons, and then you had Tommy on your guitar playing with you, who is now part of Kiss.
Yes! Oh, man, that was so unbelievable. Yeah, actually, to be honest, I never planned doing a solo career. And then we had some trouble with the name Warlock, because in the 80s I had two managers. The one person I just mentioned, Alex Grobe, who became the manager then shortly when the Crimes and Agony album was released. But I had a German manager as well, and he was actually, we were friends, we thought, but he was when there was a little bit success, he fucking lost his mind, and he was a merchandiser, and then when there was a little success, suddenly everything changed, and he practically stole the name Warlock. So that was the reason why we had to figure out what to do, and actually I was working on the next Warlock album, after Triumph and Agony, and then suddenly we got into so much trouble. We couldn't call it Warlock anymore. And the record company, everybody said, hey, we are not interested in building up another band. And, if you call another band name, that was very, very, sensitive. They said, well, call it Doro. Maybe the Warlock fans, they know who it is. Stuff. Then I thought, okay, then let's do it for one record. And then we go back to call it Warlock again. And it took me 20 years to get the name back.
Yeah.
So that was the story. I never tried to do a solo career. I'm a team player, I would say. And and then we did the Force Majeure record, which was called Doro. Yeah, and I could introduce Kiss at the legendary Monsters of Rock festivals up in LA. I got a phone call of this promoter, and he said, hey, I heard you were a huge Kiss fan. Is that right? I said, yes, totally. I grew up with Kiss, and, and it was, of course, one of my favorite bands. Even when I was in school, I was a big Kiss fan. Or when I was in school, still, I was a big Kiss fan. So I told the promoter, yes, I'm still a big Kiss fan. And I said, why? Why are you asking? He said, well, I'm the promoter of the legendary Monsters of Rock, which you guys played in 86. And I said, yes. And he said, well, Kiss is playing there in 1988. You want to introduce Kiss? And I said, oh my God, yes. I took over from LA, Germany, and I introduced Kiss. That was the first time that I met Gene and all the guys. And then I had the idea of maybe doing something together, or maybe covering a Kiss song, or maybe writing a song together. And I told my manager that I told Alex Grobe about it, and he said, Doro, drop that idea because nobody has time for that, And I said, well, I was just thinking, I was just fantasizing. He said, yeah, that's good, but, drop it, don't even think about it. And I said, okay. A couple of months later, I got a phone call from my manager, and he said, Doro, jump in the taxi, meet me at the Parker Media Hotel in Manhattan. And I knew that hotel well because that was the first time the hotel where I stayed in New York, in Manhattan, when I did this promotion tour. It was a hotel where all the filmmakers and rock stars and musicians, everybody was there, and actors, so it was that back in the day. And so I hopped in a taxi. I didn't even take a shower, put on my makeup. And because Alex said, there's a surprise, there's somebody waiting for you. And I thought it may be somebody from Germany, friends and stuff, So I met my manager in front of the hotel, and I said, Alex, now please tell me, who is it? And, and I said, is it, whatever, old band members or friends? He said, it's Gene Simmons. And I said, it's crazy. I said, no way, you didn't tell me. And he said, no, it should have been a surprise. And I thought, Alex, man. And I had to walk 3 times around the block because I was so nervous. Then after 3 times, Alex said, hey, we have to go in. We can't let Simmons wait, So I walked into the lobby, and it was Gene Simmons, and he was super nice. He said, hey, Doro, I heard you want to do a new album and stuff. I said, yes. And he asked me what kind of sound, what kind of song ideas and stuff. And he was very, very, he really was very serious. And the beauty of it was, he was listening when I said something. It was not that, usually I say something and then it goes in one ear and goes out the other, and he was very, very, he said, okay. And he wrote down everything. And he said, yeah, you know what, Doro, we can try it, maybe do something. And if it doesn't work out, nobody will know about it. We just fun, and that's it. And I said, okay. So, and we started working together, and we started in New York. And and then it worked out really well. And then we went to LA, and we recorded it was simply called Doro, the Doro record in LA Fortress Studio. That was where Kiss recorded Hot in the Shade. And Gene Simmons was there, and he was really taking care. It was awesome to work with him. And Tommy Thayer, he was working on this album as well. And he was super, super nice and very caring. So this was the album we did together, and it was awesome. And for me, being a big Kiss fan growing up, I tell you, every day my heart was pumping when I went into the studio. I couldn't believe. And it was fantastic. It was really cool. And, and we just played together in Brazil, the Monsters of Rock Festival in Brazil earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to go to Madison Square Garden to see the last show, but we were supposed to play in Mexico last week. And it was a big festival, the Life and Death Horror Fest. Many people were supposed to play there, like Chris Cooper and Wasp and Burning Witches and us and Leader Ford, and that postponed. And I was, oh man, shit, but I couldn't fly over. It was one day later in Madison Square Garden. So, but I watched it online, and it was actually great to see it. But on the other hand, very sad, like that this era is like, no, wow.
Yeah, I got a cover when they played Baltimore a couple days before that. So I've seen Kiss a bunch of times, but that was the first time I was able to photograph them, and I was just like, it was just like such a crazy moment watching the whole show, knowing that possibly the last time you'll ever see them.
Yes, absolutely, and I saw it online. It looked great, and and then I had great memory coming back to me, and wow, but it is a little sad, man. Yeah. All these bands, they're like doing their last farewell tours. Today I heard Tura do it, the last tour.
Yeah.
Did you hear?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's like that's sad. But we have to enjoy every day. It's but I want to do till the day I die. So I tell you, never hear that we do a last tour. As long as people want to see it and hear it, I want to do it. To the last day of my life.
Yeah.
Do it the Lemmy way,
Yeah. Speaking of that, and with the bands that are no longer playing and stuff like that, and the Baltimore, you played M3 a couple years ago. How is it like playing M3 Festival? Who's the fans in this area are like fanatical with 80s metal bands.
Oh, that was great. That was awesome. We had such a great time. And and I hope that we would play there again on M3. I'm hoping for that. awesome, and it was one of the best festivals in America, and yeah, it was great, and yeah, we just played Rock Power a couple of months ago. It was great too, and yeah, I love playing festivals, and M3 was really super. It was super cool, and all the people were awesome. So yeah, I hope that we will play there again, and hopefully soon.
Yeah.
And yeah, but yeah, that was good. The Baltimore area, like I told you, my best friend is there, and I remember we played many great gigs in the late '80s. It was actually, I think it was in Washington D.C. Was it called the 930 Club?
Okay. Yep.
You remember that? And like on all over in Baltimore, was it Jacks as well?
So you say probably Hammerjacks. I know that's the big one that was in Baltimore.
Yes, and yeah, so many great gigs we did there, and the fans were always awesome. So we are hoping to come next year, early next year, and we have a new booking agent. So we are he's in the middle of working, get good gigs and lots of festivals and especially in your area, and yeah.
Speaking of Baltimore, too, I told my buddy that I was going to talk to you today, and he's a friend of yours, too. This is photographer Chris Carroll, who does the photography. Yeah. I told him, I was like, I'm going to talk to Doro today. He's like, oh, man. So I wanted to tell him, like, I'm going to give you a quick shout-out since we're going to be talking about stuff like that. So how was it like working with Chris? He's a cool guy.
Oh, he's a great guy. Thank you so much for mentioning that. Yeah, man, we just met on the Monsters of Rock cruise. He did some awesome photos, and man, they winded up in so many magazines and stuff. And we tried to send it to him, like in Metal Hammer, Germany, and Rock Hard magazine. And and I promised him to send him the heart. I always had a heart, which I don't have anymore. It was a silver heart, and he said it would be awesome to send it to him, and I sent it to him, and I hope he got it by now, because it got sent out 2 times. One time it came back, so I hope he got it. But please ask.
I'll have to ask him.
Yes, and but sometimes sending stuff to America from Germany is especially when it's silver and alcohol. That's always a problem, because we had our own wine and champagne, and it was delicious, and it looked really great. Many fans, they wanted to have that, but it was impossible to ship it to America because I certain law. And same stuff with silver. There was always a problem. That why we could, I think, in the merch we have the silver heart, and this one I have on the. This one is the silver one. The silver stuff they can't sell at the merch shop. It's just steel, which looks cool too. But I just sent out the heart to Christopher, and he's a great guy, and it was awesome to do the photo session. And he's very talented, does great photos, and super nice. It's always like, and I loved him for a long time. He has a good heart and a good eye, super talented and super nice soul. And that's what I appreciate the most in people, good people. And please tell him, give him a big hug if you see him, and tell him I said hello, and
Yeah, because I see him a bunch at shows. We're always running into each other, and like I said, I just happened to I messaged him like, hey, I'm gonna talk to Doro. He's like, oh, tell her I said hi.
Yes, please come back and ask about the heart.
Yeah, I will. But and one question that I always ask, it's like a tough question because it's kind of like people who have to pick their favorite child or whatever. But if you had to pick one song from your career and put it in a time capsule, what song would you want civilization to find like hundreds of years later?
Oh man, yeah, that's a tough, because we have 20 records. And
Yeah.
In the time. Can I name a couple of songs?
Yeah, we can throw a couple in there.
Okay, so I would say from the Triumphant Agony album, I would say Oh Yeah, because it made people always so happy. It's always such a great feel when we sing it all together, all heads. It's such a feeling of unity, of family, of like pure joy and and energy, and then everybody feels relieved because of the lyrics, there's good in heart of a beast, and so on, so on. It's like such a good song to feel all united. So, oh yeah, then immer, there was the first song in German and in English, and I sing it still to this day, every gig, and it talks about deep friendship, which will last forever, and I still believe that. And the song, that was the second single actually in America. The second video got played on MTV heavy rotation. It was unbelievable. It was not heard of, because back then Rammstein or other bands, they would never sing in German, so that was really different and unique. And then I would say from the new album, you know which song I would pick, right?
Children of the Dark.
Yeah, Children of the Dawn. Yes, Children of the Dawn. Yes, Children of the Dawn. And yeah. These would be my three favorites. And yeah.
So another question I always ask too, especially because depending on the holidays and stuff like that. First of all, are you? I'm going to ask this question to go into that question. Do you like horror movies? Are you into horror movies?
Yes.
Okay.
I've seen a bunch of them, and yeah. Of course, in the tour, horror movies are always, the movies which the road crew and the band always love to see. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so since you like horror movies, it'll be a two-part question. Since it's around Christmas time, what's your favorite regular Christmas movie and then a horror-related Christmas movie?
Probably, all the Halloween movies I could watch at Christmas time. And my normal movie, which I love, is Deliverance. Did you ever see this?
Oh, yeah, I love Deliverance. Yep.
Yeah, so Deliverance and all the Halloween movies. Yeah.
What about a Christmas movie? What's your favorite Christmas time movie?
Oh shit, man! I don't know so many Christmas movies, to be honest. There's this one with Gina Davis. That was pretty cool. She's like, she's like this, like, she's like a trained, not a killer, but something like that. So, I forgot the name. You know which one I mean, with Gina Davis?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I have to look into that one.
Yeah, there's something about Christmas in the title, but she's like the regular, nice, housewife, and then something happens, and she remembers her past, and she's like a total killer, and like sniper, and it's a great movie. And another movie I always love to watch Christmas. I don't know if it's a Christmas movie, but it's the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And that's True Lies.
Yeah, I like True Lies. I mean, that's kind of sort of in Christmas time.
Yeah.
Well, before I let you go, do you have any plans on? Do you have any plans or news that you can talk about that's coming forward in 2024?
Oh yes, yeah. So our immediate plans is like doing a big tour worldwide, doing all the great festivals. We have already some great festivals lined up, and we just did like 2 big shows in Germany. Was Wacken, the Wacken festival.
Yep.
On Wacken, we celebrated my 40-year anniversary with many guests like Phil Campbell and Mickey D of Motorhead was there, and Mickey D now Scorpions, and Udo Dirkschneider was there, and Hansi Kirsch of Blind Guardian, and Joey Belladonna, and we did a big show. It was like 2.5 show, and that got filmed, and I think this will make a great DVD. And then we just did a show 3 weeks ago in my former hometown, Düsseldorf, Germany, and there were some other great guests there. We celebrated big, like Elisa of Arch Enemy was there, and Angela Gosso of Arch Enemy was there, and Mille of Creator was there, and Tarja Turunen, ex-singer of Nightwish, was there, and so many great people. So these 2 shows we want to definitely put on DVD and Blu-ray, And then on the DVD and Blu-ray, I got some footage from old stuff that I was working with Lemmy, and when he was coming to my 20-year anniversary, and we did like some rehearsals, and we all looked like little kids, I swear. And I was there, he looked young, I looked young, Lemmy looked really young, so there's some special footage for the diehard fans. So that's what we are working on while we are on tour, a new CD and live record, live album, and Blu-ray, and then that will probably come out end of next year. I always take a long time to do a record or to do it, so it has to be right, and usually all the nuances take, the longest time to make it really good and nice. The long and proud DVD, 3 years as well to make. So, but now we want to be quicker, and but that's the plans, and then we'll see. I have many songs which we didn't put on this album because sometimes we had too many anthems or too many fast songs, too many ballads. So I probably work on a new album, in one year, but first the DVD, and then doing more singles for this new album. The new single will be out around Christmas time. That's True Metal Maniacs. That's from the bonus disc, and then we have another video in the making, Lean Mean Rock Machine. That's our first comic video, and I saw the first 2 minutes, and it's great. It's fun. It's really hilarious, and the guy who's painting every picture, that's the reason why it takes so long. He's doing a killer job. Really funny, really metal. I think metalheads will love it, and that's for Lean Mean Rock Machine. And we want to probably put it out when we start touring, and and the first gig is in America, the Hell's Heroes Festival in Texas, Houston, in March, I think, and then we take it from there, and then we start in March, like tour, festivals, all that good stuff, and
yeah. Well, hopefully, when like you said, you'll come back to Baltimore, and we'll be able to talk face to face when you coming around town.
Yes, I think, I have good feelings about it. So but we're working on it, and so you will probably see us very soon, and
Okay.
And which songs would you like to hear live of the new album? Like, for example, we'll have a festival setting only 1 hour song to pick. Like for our own show, I can play longer, but for one festival, which song would you think would be great to play in a festival set?
I don't know, man. That's tough to choose, because like you said, you got to pick songs, and you got, especially with your career, you got 20 albums, man. That's tough to try to figure out a set list.
It is. But surely God, you'd like.
Yeah, that one for sure. I mean, I would love to. I mean, if it was possible, I'd love to do the Judas one, because I'm a huge Rob Halford. So maybe you can do a tour with him, and Judas and Doro go together.
Yeah, that will be probably, that will be probably not possible on every festival, Maybe a special festival or something,
Yeah.
But that's tough, That's tough. But we'll see, and we have played Children of the Dawn and Time for Justice for the first time live, and that both went on. But the others we have to rehearse, and we will let the fans pick the songs they love the most, and then take it from there. Yeah, and of course all the classics like All We Are and Burn Witches and I Own Wounds. It's always has to be in this. That's pretty.
Yeah. It's one of those ones where fans are like, "Why didn't you play this song?" You're like, "Well, I only have so many minutes."
Yeah, actually, in the 80s, we always played like 2 hours, sometimes 2.5 hours, sometimes up to 3 hours. And now that's almost not possible anymore, because there's always a strict curfew.
Yep.
Usually, strict curfew, like, oh man, and then stuck with just 1.5 hours or maybe 2 hours, but it depends. But for our anniversary, we did long shows.
Yeah.
But, But festivals, usually it's 1 hour or maybe 5 minutes. So that's tough. That's a headache, like, you know. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the time, and I'll let you get back to what you were doing. And like I said, hopefully we'll talk to you here soon.
Yes, you will. Say hi to Christopher.
I will.
And all the great Christmas time, Killer New Year, and see you very soon.
We'll see. Yep. Have a good one.
Ciao.